My name is Hope Nduta. Welcome to another job mentorship session by Cyber Shujaa. For the Cyber Shujaa alumni, current cohorts, feel at home. For those who are from outside networks, also karibuni sana. So I'll just go ahead and introduce the topic and our speaker for tonight. So we'll be talking about DevSecOps, and we hope to demystify what it is, the principles surrounding it, and how it differs from regular DevOps you get. So what security practitioners bring into the point of development and such. So our speaker today will be taking us through what DevSecOps is, how as security practitioners we can venture into it, and what role it plays in the whole IT ecosystem or development ecosystem. And with us to speak about this is Kiiru Maina. So Kiiru is someone who's worked with software development teams to design, build, and maintain secure web application, mobile applications, and APIs. So he's been actively practicing application security, DevSecOps, and the likes. He is currently a product security architect at Equity Bank. And last but not least, he's an alumni of Cyber Shujaa, and we feel very proud to have him come back and mentor and speak on this platform. So, karibu sana Kiiru, and you can take over the session now.
Thank you so much, Hope. It's been a while since someone introduced me. Anyway, that's on a light note. Thank you so much, and I'm glad to have you again another time for these sessions. And it's a nice way. I really find it as a very fulfilling way of giving back to Cyber Shujaa, since they taught me some of these things, and to some extent I wouldn't have been where I am today if it's not for them. So I think with that being said, I can be able to start the session. So just allow me to share my screen. So today we're going to talk about DevSecOps. So what exactly we'll be talking about not today, sorry. Well, still today, but tonight we'll be talking about DevSecOps. And what exactly we'll be talking about today is I'll just let you know what DevSecOps is, and I'll walk through the culture and philosophy of DevSecOps, and then we'll do a DevSecOps lifestyle process. And for those who've been in my session before, my presentations before, you always know that a session is not complete without a hands-on experience, a hands-on setup on whatever topic it is that you're talking about at any particular time. So we shall have that as well, and then I'll guide you on. I can point you to references on where exactly you can read more on DevSecOps and DevOps in general, and then we'll have a question and answer, and once we do that, we'll call it a night. Yeah. So onto the meat of things. So this DevSecOps session is going to be a bit different. I want you to start by creating a picture in your mind, an ideal, a scenario where you have multiple people from multiple backgrounds coming together to ensure that a product that is built, a product that is built continuously and is built in a secure manner. So what I mean by built securely and built in a secure manner. So for us to talk about this, I need to walk you through where exactly we have come from. So for people who have stepped into an IT project management class or system design analysis class, you have learned about different software development life cycles and general IT and software development. You've learned about the software development life cycles. So for those who haven't, I shall give you a brief on what it is. So in software development life cycle, you have two main you have five phases. So you have your system design. No, you have your requirements definition, and then you have your system design, and then you have your system development, and then you have your testing, and then you have your deployment, and then you have your maintenance. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 6, not 5. So these are the phases that I used. So these phases are applied in many different ways. So you have now you have what you call the methodologies. So for the methodologies, are you guys able to continuously see my screen, or it's flickering?
It's stagnant. We can see the next slide.
Okay, good. So okay, fine. I think that is okay. So you have two main methodologies. There was waterfall, and there was agile, or rather, there is agile. So waterfall goes through the 5 processes, the 6 processes without going back. So once you've once you have gathered requirements, that is it. You have finished, you proceed to the next stage, which is design. So once you have done your system design, that is it. You move on to the next stage, which is development. Once you have developed your software, you move on to the next stage, which is now testing. And testing, once you're done with the same, you move on to the next stage, which is deployment, and finally maintenance. So for with those 6 stages, you had a challenge in form of sustainability, because that means once you do the product once, that is it. It's the end. So an assumption was made that once you have finished, the product is done and taken to the market, or rather consumed by the people who are meant to consume it. There is nothing else you need to do on that product. It's a perfect product. And this this was such a very this was a very wrong approach, if you ask me, because this people will always make mistakes. So when bugs come in, and also people are people, so people's needs will always change. You need to satisfy people's wants, or you will no longer be in the market. So this never gave room for innovation and ability to continuously iterate and adapt to the different market needs. So now a bunch of people went back and came up with a new development methodology and called it Agile. So Agile is very foundational because it gave birth to very many development methodologies, but all of them trace back their origins to Agile. So for Agile, you're able to go through the 6 phases, as I said, but then you're able to continuously go through them, and you're able to go back. So it's a continuous loop of a never-ending development process. So now a product was able to be continuously built on, and you are able to go back if you add in some sort in your development process. You could go back and build again. So just give me a moment. Okay, good. You could always go back and Okay, are you able to see my screen?
We have a side-by-side view.
Okay, let
Of,
me
mhm.
let me share again. What about now?
Yeah, one screen. The introduction, that's the slide you're sharing.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. So apologies for that. Tech sometimes fails people, and you really don't want it to fail you. Anyway, so we can, as I'm saying, so the agile development methodology allow people to build on to build continuously to build their products continuously, and allowing people to go back um, and and improve on things that they did or add new things and so on and so forth. So now, after Agile was done and Agile looked like a success, guys came back and realized they had another challenge. They were not able to involve other stakeholders, usually mostly business related stakeholders. So because as long as, in as much as you're building a software that is meant to be consumed by people, at the end of the day, it's still a business, and you need to make business related decisions, and you need to make money and stuff like that. So for that, they came up with they now came up with DevOps. So DevOps now stands for development and operations. So now what they did, they were able to bring business related stakeholders, project managers, developers, all of them together to continuously work and build a product. So now, as they were doing this, they realized that uh, different people realized that people are building softwares, yes, but the softwares that are being built are insecure, or rather, there are no security. There's no place for security to fit in that DevOps methodology um, because the DevOps methodology was highly automated, and uh, it was it was too much, or rather security was not inculcated in the different software development phases in DevOps lifecycle. So what they did was now come up with DevSecOps. So DevSecOps led to the integration of security in the different phases in the DevOps process. So like I said, the old methodology had 6 different phases. So depending on what book you have read or what material you have consumed, you might get 6 phases, you might get 8 phases, and in some cases you might get up to 10 phases. So now DevSecOps now made it possible to combine your software development lifecycle into the current the DevOps processes is, and the ability to add security measures to ensure that code that you push into a production environment, or rather consumed by users, is secured from a very early stage. So the for this case, I'll demonstrate to you a DevSecOps lifecycle that has 10 phases. So yeah, so but before we head there, we're going to talk a bit on the enabling factors for DevSecOps. So for your organization to properly adopt DevSecOps, uh, DevSecOps needs to change. DevSecOps impacts the culture of an organization. As I said, DevSecOps rides on 3 things: people, processes, and technology. So for the people, it's the culture and the skill set. And then for the processes, you have proper documentation and policies and stuff like that. And then for the technology, you need to, because DevSecOps environment or a DevOps environment is a highly automated environment. So you need to fully understand, you need to fully have the skill set for you to be able to properly enforce some of these DevSecOps practices that are there. So, so an organization that prioritizes DevSecOps needs to, as I said, be able to continuously ship products. There's I won't say the company because the company's name eludes me, but there's a certain company that makes a change on their products after every 11 seconds. So now imagine every 11 seconds there's a small change that you may not or may know. So you need to ensure that you have the capability to continuously make changes on your environment. You also need to ensure that you include security from the beginning of the software development life cycle. You also need to ensure that, because now this is going to be a very expensive affair depending on how you look at it. Expense is a bit relative, but it's going to be an expensive affair. So for you to also be successful, you need to look at what other people are doing and what other softwares people have done before and leverage on that. So you need to look at open source softwares that are being used by different stakeholders and see how you can leverage on that to make your DevSecOps environment better. And then you also need to engage users early and very early in the development process in your software development life cycle. So and then and then you also need to look at processes that you're doing more than one time, and they are very small processes. You need to find a way to automate them. And then lastly, last but not least, you need to allow yourself to fail, because it's a very fast-paced environment. So allow yourself to fail, allow yourself to make mistakes, but in as much as you're making these mistakes, don't be reckless. Very uh, make justifiable mistakes, and then do not repeat the same mistake again. So do it once, fail once, but as you're failing once, fail very fast, fail so fast that no one will see you failing, and then do not fail recklessly. So if you have mastered those rules of the game, then you're ready to you're on the way there to adopting a DevSecOps environment. You're not ready because there's so much that goes into it, but you're on the way there. And then so so to ensure success in a DevSecOps environment, as an organization, you need to, like I said, DevSecOps and DevOps is a really culture centric practice. So you need to look at your leadership and culture. So you need to first inform the upper management to be able to understand what exactly it is that what exactly DevSecOps is and how exactly it's going to help the organization. And then you also need to look at in as much as it's a top-down approach, I like, people say it's a top-down approach, but I like looking at it also that it's a bottom-up approach. So because in as much as the leaders are sensitized on the same, you need to sensitize the guys who are also being led. So they also need to understand what DevSecOps is, its importance, and how exactly it's going to help them in their day-to-day work. So once you're able to sensitize them and you're able to start this culture change and building this awareness, you now go to the next step. So workforce development. So DevSecOps will involve a whole set of new practices. So you need to invest in training people, equipping them with the right tools to ensure that they're able to do their work and so on and so forth. And then the third thing is management and governance. So now that you've empowered these people with skills and you've been able to give them you've been able to sensitize them on what exactly it is they're doing. You need to guide them. So how exactly do you guide them? You come up with different policies informing different actions and so on and so forth, and also ensuring that this processes and workflows are well managed uh, and they run like clockwork, because your product basically depends on this. So this has worked for you. The next thing is collaboration and partnership. Like I said, DevOps and DevSecOps is involves people from different teams, different levels, different areas of expertise. So you need to bring all these guys together, make it easy for everybody to collaborate, and everyone should have a say on what exactly involves them, and also contributing to the conversation, and give advice and guidance on how exactly you're going to build and ensure that this product works. And then the last one, and the last one, and almost very important, is continuous improvement and measurement. So you need to be well versed with the different technologies and different things that people are doing, so that you're able to build and inculcate some of these things into your DevSecOps methodology, so that you're able to be better and ship better products in the long run. So yeah, as I said, we're going to break this down into very small bits. So depending on the books that you have consulted and the books that you have read, you might have seen 6 phases, you might have seen 8 phases, and you might have seen 10 phases, and all of them do not have the same name. So yeah, it's a bit hard to grapple with it, but that's how things that's how it is currently. So according to the US Department of Justice, that is, we have 10 phases, or rather they use 10 phases. So they have the plan phase, develop phase, build phase, the test phase, the release phase, the deliver phase, the deploy phase, the operate phase, and the monitor phase. So all this comes together to form an infinity loop. So we all know how an infinity loop looks like. So that means this is always continuing and it doesn't end. So yes, so all these things will always, once you finish the monitor phase, it's not the end, you go back to the plan phase, up to monitor, and then you go back again. So it's always continuous and it never ends. So we'll break it down into this 10 phases. We'll break it down into 2. So we have the pre-delivery phases and the post-delivery phases. So so into the pre-delivery phases, you have 5 stages. So you have the plan stage. What happens in the plan stage? You listen to what your different stakeholders have to say and collect this information. So you, at this particular stage, you're able to say, yes, I want a software that will, what software to use as an example. Anyone who wants to give an example? And 1, 2, 3. Okay, no one. So let's assume you're building a social media application. So we want to build an application that users are able to maybe log in and uh, write a post. So I'm trying so much not to use very common name, or rather names that are constrained to a particular social network. So you want to come in and post an item, upload a photo. A user should be able to upload a video. A user should be able to message another user. Maybe a user should be able to join a group, and so on and so forth. So now all these requirements are, oh no, the requirements end up to where I gave a practical requirement. So ignore this, so on and so forth. So able to document all these requirements, and then the security practice that comes from there, able to assess the risks of these requirements that you have given, and prioritize them accordingly using your risk prioritization matrix, able to also perform things like threat modeling and also develop an architecture for this particular social media application. So once we do that, we proceed to the next step, so which is develop. So developing is where the actual coding comes in. So a developer is going to write code that feature for logging in. It's going to code that feature for uh, posting an image. Developer is also able to do all those things, and then once they're done, they because in an ideal scenario, they might be working as many developers. So these developers will be able to should be able to push their code to a code repository. So some of the security practices that may take place is a static code scan. So this is where we look at the code and the IDE, and then before you push the code, you might perform a pre-commit scan to maybe to ensure that the code is well, for those who have used languages like Python, you know that for you to write an if statement, the next line of code should be spaced. Is it 4 times or 4 times? Yeah. So 4 times or a tab. So you you do that, so you can check if your lines of code are linted properly. You can check for secrets before you actually push the code to your version control system. This could be GitHub, GitLab, Azure DevOps, and so on and so forth. So once you do that, you need to now, once you have pushed your code, you have this thing called CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous development. So continuous integration is just ensure continuous deployment. Sorry, not development. Continuous deployment. I stand corrected. So in the continuous integration bit, you're able to now perform something known as building. So building is for people who have done C, C++. You have you have learned that the code needs to be compiled for it to work, for it to run. So the compilation takes place for those building. You're able to build the code at that particular point, and and come up with and come up with an image for people who use interpreted languages like Python. So you're able to come up with something like you're able to come up with a Docker image that uh, you can now use it to run your application in the deployment stage. So during this stage, you might perform practices such as static code analysis. You're able to perform your static application security tests, able to perform your security detection tests, and also, yeah, so those are some of the tests that you can perform at that level. And then the next stage is the testing stage. So once you get to this stage, now you inform the stakeholders, or rather all these parties involved, that you can come in and check whether the requirements that we had said have been met. So this is where now able to do your manual tests, and able to do your automated tests as well. So for security, you can do your dynamic application security testing, and and uh, and manual penetration tests if need be. And then now, once you've done that, the next stage is now the release phase. So what happens in the release phase is you package uh, you package this application and say this application is version 1.2. So this social media application Y is Y 1.2. So Y 1.2 has the ability for a user to log in and upload an image and make a post and message their friends. So Now we release that and we have appropriate documentation. So what you can do here is scan the Docker image that has been built in the previous build stage to ensure that this Docker image has up-to-date libraries and doesn't have any vulnerabilities per se. So once you do that, now you deliver it. So delivering isn't necessarily deployment. So you can deliver this image by uploading it into something called an artifact registry. So this is where your image is stored so that if you need to install it on your production environment, you're able to get it from there and deploy it. So once we deliver, that stage is called delivery. So nothing much happens there, nothing special happens there. It's just making it available for downloading. So you might want to build a Christmas version of your application where you have uh, a Santa Claus icons and Christmas themed icons and so on and so forth. So that is why the deliver stage is there. So the deliver stage is just there to make it available, but not for installation. So once you do that, you are able to deploy. So now the next stage is now deploying. So you're able to install it and configure it in your operational environment. So if you're using a virtual machine, able to install it there. If you're using uh, an orchestration tool like Kubernetes, Red Hat, uh, Nomad, was it Nomad? I've forgotten the name. I'll check for you shortly. So if you're using either of this, now that is where you're able to deploy. So for that, you need to ensure that wherever it is that you're deploying is properly hardened. So if it's a Kubernetes cluster, you need to ensure that your Kubernetes cluster is hardened appropriately. If it's a virtual machine, you need to ensure that that virtual machine is hardened. And then now once you have deployed, then that means your social media application that you called Y is ready for consumption. So now you need to, now you get into the operational phase. So you need to ensure that your product data is backed up. So some of the practices that you can perform is ensure that your regular backups, ensure that your product is always up and running so that your users are not frustrated and go start a trend saying that your social media application is down. And then the other thing is key management. So ensuring that you don't have exposed API keys or database credentials and so on and so forth. So, and then the other one is the next step is monitor. So just ensuring that your software is uh, is safe. So this can include having a SOC operation. I think you're well versed with what a SOC is, and then performance monitoring. So this is where your things like now detecting crashes. If you the mobile application version of our social media application has uh, crashes on people's mobile phones, or a functionality doesn't work, or uh, what what features and functionalities do people message use a lot. So if people are not texting, then you can remove the texting functionality. If people are not posting, you can see how exactly you can make the posting experience better. So that's what you can do. And then feedback is where you collect now information on how to make your social media application better. Yeah, so and then now you go back to the planning stage. That being said, I think we can go to the we can have a short demo. So I prepared an application just for you. I didn't code it from scratch because it will take me a lot of time. So what I did was I forked Django repository from a certain YouTuber and improved it just to demonstrate some of these DevSecOps capabilities. So allow me to stop sharing my screen, and then I can share. Okay. Oh, not okay. Kindly confirm you're able to see my screen. Thumbs up or any reaction would be good. And just ensure that you together and also do a thumbs up as well. So we have our lovely application here that we have not threat model, but I think we have there are multiple sessions that have been covered on threat modeling, so I thought it would be wise to skip that. Oh, that key does not work for the record. So guys, please don't misuse my key. Okay, so we have a Python application here that runs like a Docker, that runs on a Docker container. So now that we have this application set up, we can be able to run it if time allows. So I forgot to open it at the beginning, so we can take the DevOps process. So the developer has developed this application. I can warrant that it is working. So because I tested it before this meeting, and because I didn't want to get embarrassed and find out that this is not working, so I can please trust me when I tell you that it's working. So this works, and so now that this works, we need to ensure that our code is secure. So as I said, you can be able to do your static code scans. So so you can have this on your IDE. So I decided to use my static code scanner of choice, which is Sneak. So Let's see what's going on. Hello. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Kiiru.
Okay, so
But you're breaking. I don't know if it's only on my side.
just give me a moment. Allow me to fix things. Okay, so it looks like I'm having a network issue. So my internet is not 100%. So my plugin is not able to start correctly. So hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. So my plugin is not working correctly. So I may not be able to give you a demo on how this is supposed to work. But as I am developing, I'm able to see the errors that are the security flaws that are on my IDE, and I'm able to correct them appropriately. But if this does not work, I usually have the beauty of DevSecOps. It allows you to implement this in multiple stages in your software development life cycle. So assuming I have pushed my code here, and I have accidentally added a secret. So I have created a new key. I have created a key here, which is
Kiiru, just
yes, hello.
you said you won't be able to share your screen.
No, you guys aren't able to see my screen?
No, you're not sharing.
Oh, my apologies. Allow me to fix that in a moment. What I said was I will not be able to show you my the static code scan on my IDE because I'm not able to do that correctly. So we have a key here, a secret key. So let's uh, let's rename it to, actually this just works correctly. This just works. So we need to, let's say we have done our work and we need to push this particular change. So I come here and add this, and then once I have added this file, I say I commit it and have added a secret. So if I do this, it's going to run a check. So as you can see, I have not been able to commit it because before I commit it, I have set up a check that checks whether there are any secrets that are being pushed into my GitHub repository. So now when I check this, I'm able to see there was a finding here for a Git Guardian API key that was going to be added, but then they won't give me the secret, and then they can tell you what role it is and what file it is in. So once it does that, it's going to undo your commit, and it's going to undo the files that you had staged. So you're not able to stage that file again. So now let's do so now assuming we have not changed we have not added a malicious file. In this case, we change a message. So let's say in this what file do we change? Static static bar. So maybe we realize that this error message should not say this, but rather it should read incorrect credentials. Because maybe the InfoSec team say that they do not like the message that is shown there. So, or rather, maybe a product manager says that they don't like that message that is shown. We need to change it into something else. So we change it into incorrect credentials. So we do the same thing again. So we have our our views.py. So we change this and we have it on we say change message, and then we commit it. Now, given that our static code scan has failed, we will push the code manually, and since we have bypassed that, and then we'll activate. We'll have our plan B activated. So what I mean by our plan B is what I mean by our plan B is now on our GitHub repository, which I am dragging shortly. GitHub.com. We have made a push particular branch, so we can look at this particular branch here, and we have this update. We have this pull request that we had created yesterday. So you're able to see the static code scan at this particular point. So it has finished running. So let's rerun it again so that you're able to appreciate it. So this is now on the build phase. So what is happening here? We're building the software into an image. So yes, so this authenticates into the service that I'm using, and it's able to check my packages, the packages that I'm using for any vulnerabilities, and it's able to now scan my code as well. So this is where the code scanning takes place for any vulnerabilities, and then it's able to now upload these reports, and I'm able to consume these reports. So my reports have been uploaded, and now we're able to see what exactly it is that is missing. So my internet is very slow today. I'm trying to get the reports, just give me a moment. Where was I getting this? Oh, yes, here. Yeah, so I'm able to see my report here. So you can see that my code has zero vulnerabilities. So that means my code is very secure, because I did not have any vulnerabilities affected that were pushed by that particular change. And then the other thing that I set up was, because this application is running on a Docker container, we were able to scan the vulnerabilities, and now we have this bot that leaves a comment and it tells me as a developer, you have these vulnerabilities on your Docker container. So you have 4 critical vulnerabilities: high, 13, no medium, and no low. And then it tells me the image that I'm using. So as you can see, I'm using Python 3.12 Slim as my base image. So they tell me what exactly I can do to remediate these fixes. So I can be able to change my image from 3.12 3.12. I have lost my 3.12 Slim to 3.12.9 Slim Bookworm. So if I change this, I'm going to have 0 critical vulnerabilities, zero high, 0 low, 0 medium, but I'm going to have 29 vulnerabilities. So it is up to me to make a decision and see if I'm willing to live with 4 critical vulnerabilities or 29 low impact vulnerabilities. So, and then they give me the recommendation. I can also change it into another version. I can either choose to bump it up to 3.13, but if I bump this up as a developer, you know that this might not work because the changes that might affect my application if I upgrade my Python version to 3.13. So, but then this also has lower vulnerabilities, low category vulnerabilities, which are now 26. Or I can change to an image known as Alpine. So if I change to this Alpine image, I'm going to have 0 vulnerabilities. So it is up to me to make a decision on what exactly I need to, what I need to change to. So if I decide it's Alpine, then that is fine. If I decide it is this 3.13, then that is fine. So another another scan that was running here is an infrastructure scan, which is out of scope uh, for this discussion. So we'll talk about this on another day if hope allows me to do so. So yes, and then this was also another scan that I was using that is no longer functional. And then we have this dynamic application security tests. So for dynamic application security tests, you have multiple tests. So you're able to test the application as it runs. So in this scenario, I was using a tool known as, because it's free and it works for me. So in this particular case, it did not run because I do not have my live environment set up. So, but I can show you what exactly happens if it's supposed to run successfully. So this is supposed to spider my web application. So it's supposed to log into my web application and look for vulnerabilities on my web application. So I give it a set of credentials, it logs in onto the live environment and checks if there are any vulnerabilities that are there, and then it produces a report. So because the live environment is not there and I did not I did not finalize on changing it to at least show my fake environment. I wanted it to build a local host on my on my runner, but that did not work very well. So that's why it is not working. So yes, so those are some of the things that you can do. And then because now we did not add our secrets onto our code, we did not add that API key. So this GitHub usually offers a cleaner way of doing it. I've done a session on key management also sometime in the past, so you can have a look at it. So, but I'll show you how GitHub handles it. So we have our API keys. Not our API keys. We have our API keys go somewhere here. So for our API keys, we have this different API keys. So I'm not able to when I click on it, you're only able to edit or delete. So all these keys are not on my application, not on my application. They're not on anywhere on my application. So if I needed to log into the service that checks the security of my code, we have this sneak token. So on this sneak token, I'm able to put my token there, and then when I am building in the build phase, I'm able to retrieve those secrets from this particular service here. So that is how we are able to ensure that our API keys and so on and so forth are secure, because now I have forbidden you from, or rather, my social media application has forbidden you from uploading your API keys. So I think that's it on my end. I have covered that. I was not able to deploy it because I realized I did not pay my cloud subscription in due time. So I chose to focus, but please always pay for cloud. They give you some really good services. So yeah, my 90-day trial elapsed. So I cannot show you what happens in the deployment stage, but I can show you what happens in the delivery phase. So on the delivery phase, I choose Docker Hub. So the application goes to my Docker Hub repository. So you can be able to download it at any given time and run the application and confirm if it works. So
Kiiru, I'm not sure if it's just
yes,
on my end, but
you're
what
not
we're
seeing it.
seeing, yeah, okay.
Okay, just give me a moment. It was intentional. Hub.docker.com. So the image that was built here is the image that was built in the on GitHub ends up here. So I have not pushed it here because that particular check did not pass. So until that check passes is when I'm going to deploy it there. So you can see the last time I updated it was 2 months ago. So you can always download this at your free time and implement it and run it on your machine. It will work. Yes, so if you have Docker, you're able to do that, and you'll be able to use this particular image and see and interact with this social media application that allows you to uh, collaborate with different people. So yes, so that is where it ends up to. I have taken you through the plan. I took you through the plan session on the last session that I was here through threat modeling. We have done the develop stage. However, in as much as it was partially a success, owing to issues that I could not control at this particular point in time, but you have learned about pre-commit hooks, and the next thing that you have done is implementing security on the build phase. So we've been able to do a static application security test, which we have seen that our application is not vulnerable to bugs. And then the other one, we've been able to do a dust, but dust failed because it did not have a live environment. We've been able to do a container scan, and then we've seen that our Docker image has a has 4 critical vulnerabilities, and you have been given options on how to improve it. and I have shown you where to deliver it. So in this case, we used Docker Hub as our point of not delivering it, sorry, releasing it. So releasing it, and we've been able to release it and deliver it to Docker Hub. So now you can now take it from here, and you can challenge yourself to learn cloud. So you can choose to deploy it on your machine, or you can choose to deploy it on a cloud environment and interact with the application. So I think that's it. I'd like to open the floor for questions.
Thank you so much, Kiiru. Let's see reactions of applause and appreciation. Let's have us appreciate Kiiru. Thank you so much. We have our first question from Emmanuel. Was that a question or you were trying to clap?
No. I was just trying to clap. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Kiiru. I know I'm speaking for a lot of us when we say we have to go back to the recording and go step by step to internalize and even get the practical sense of it. Thank you so much. So questions? Any questions, appreciation as we bring it to a close? Go ahead, Calvin, and then John.
How can we reach him just in case like we have questions later after we watch the recording?
Kiiru, how can you be reached?
You can always reach me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Kiiru for Reels, the number 4. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Kiiru Maina. So let me just post my username on the chat. So okay, we're having trouble loading your messages. Try refreshing. So I don't know. Hey,
But on LinkedIn, it's Kiiru Maina, right?
Yes. So on LinkedIn, you can just find me with Kiiru Maina. I am very active on. Well, I will always reply to your messages on LinkedIn. So feel free to drop a message. I will get back to you.
Okay. John?
Yeah. So to learn more.
Oh, sorry. Kiiru, go ahead.
Oh yes, you had another question. I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I can take the next question.
Okay, John.
Yovan, I was asking the same question. How I can reach you? So you answered.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So to learn more, there are several more resources. So I have forgotten about that slide completely. So just allow me to open it.
Okay. Maybe as you open that. Okay, go ahead.
So to learn more, you can always you can always look at the TryHackMe DevSecOps path. So TryHackMe recently released the DevSecOps path, so you can always learn from that particular platform. I have gone through some of the content. I think it's very nice content, and you can learn DevOps. For you to learn DevSecOps, you have to start from DevOps as well. So you can get onto a YouTube channel called Tech World with Nana. She covers different DevSecOps DevSecOps from a very fundamental level, and it's very simple and easy for anyone to pick up. And then for the security part of DevOps, so the DevSecOps bit, you can look at the Sneak YouTube channel. And then if you want to go deeper and learn from case studies, Google has written a white paper on how they implement DevSecOps, and also the US Department of Defense has implemented a paper, has done a white paper, provided the DevSecOps strategy and also their DevSecOps playbook online. So you can always read that and understand how uh, the key players in the industry are implementing DevSecOps and DevOps. And also for you to, this is not listed here because I came about it earlier today. I saw it earlier today. For you to learn how to implement DevSecOps in your organization, you have something known as the DevSecOps operations maturity model. So this will guide you. It's by OWASP. So this will guide you in implementation of your of implementation of DevSecOps in your organization. So yeah, I think now we can go back to Q&A, and if there's, you can go back to Hope Helen. Yes, Hope, sorry, Hope Nduta.
Thank you so much, Kiiru. So I think you've partially answered the question I had, because I was you were in Cyber Shuja, when was it, 2023 or 2024?
Yes, 2023 January.
Yeah. So my question was more of guiding steps, because we have students, we have people who want to venture into this path, on what initiatives you took to prepare for yourself for this path, and also for the opportunities that opened in line to this path. Yeah.
Okay, so I think for Cyber Shuja, there's a lady called Jaylene Kirui. She did a very nice class on the same. It should be somewhere on YouTube. The same concepts, however, the methodology of implementation is a bit different, owing to circumstances that she knows best, and also based on how she learned it and how she does it. So I think that is, well, she covered it very well. I think we still have the DevSecOps bit in the cloud and network security track.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, so there's a video by Jaylene where she does the static application security test bit very well using the same tool. So you can always look at that. And then there's a lot of YouTube channel. There's a lot of YouTube into it, and also also trying to master different bits, and also my first job really pushed me to learn these things, because I had to pay rent and keep up with the current regime, if you know what I mean. So that really forced me to learn quite a bit, because if that was not the case, then I would have been out of a job. But Cyberjad really came in handy for me at that particular time. Yeah, so I think I think that was what guided me. So you had the Joylene tutorial, you had a lot of YouTube, especially the channels that I've told you about, and and reading all these white papers so that I understand how different organizations do it. Yeah, so basically that's it.
Okay.
I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah. Did you also do like the TriHackMe DevSecOps path?
Unfortunately, the path was
Okay.
not out yet. So
Okay.
I think you guys are very lucky because now you have a place to start. It's become easier to start than it was 1.5 years ago.
Okay. So
Yeah,
thank you
so
so
take
much.
advantage of that. Mhm.
Thank you so much for your time and knowledge. So, just before I close, are there any other questions or comments? We don't leave anyone out. Yes, John.
Oh, hi.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for the webinar. It has been good. Just wanted to ask for someone wants to venture into cloud from being maybe a SOC analyst, or maybe from learning SOC analyst to maybe security analyst. Where can you start? Ideally, where can you start so that you can position yourself to be marketable?
Well, you can start by understanding the best place to start is by understanding the fundamentals of cloud without being without being provider centric. By provider centric, I mean you don't need to start by, let's say, I'm learning AWS or I'm learning Azure or I'm learning GCP. So what you should do is you should start by understanding the very small cloud concepts, uh, the things that we dismiss quite a lot. What is software as a service, platform as a service? Learn and internalize that. I believe as a SOC analyst, uh, you have working knowledge of computer networking and network security. So that is a good place to, you already have a foundation for that. And then now once you understand that, you can go through now you can now say, now I'd like to learn AWS, for example. There is so much material on AWS online. So you can learn through the AWS products one by one and internalize and understand how they work. And then once you understand maybe how AWS works, I'm saying AWS because it's very common. Personally, I didn't start with AWS, I started with something else. So once you understand how AWS works, it's easy for you to move across different providers. What just changes are very small and minimal things. Well, it can be annoying every once in a while, but it's they're almost the same. The only difference is now maybe pricing. The only major difference is maybe pricing, and some relatively small cloud service providers might not give you what the AWSs of the world are giving you. So yeah, you can look at AWS, you can look at Google Cloud Platform. If you really want to get a job, this is a bit unpopular, but if you really want to get job ready, start with Azure. Yeah, I
Thank
hope
you.
I've answered your question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Kiru. I was about to say a program that goes with AWS, and then I had start with the basics. So yeah, I think there's a lot of material in cloud, just like Kiru has stated. And also in the Kenyan market, there are a couple of programs that offer, though they are vendor-specific cloud courses you can take. Some of them are free, so you can look into that, John. So I'm assuming, yeah. So I'm assuming John is our last question. Kiru, you could give us your last remarks, and then I can bring the session to a close.
Thank you so much, Hope, for this session. I hope I did not lose you so much. And I hope you learned something small, despite all what I think is chaos, because I think some things really failed me in the last minute. But yeah, I hope you learned something, and remember that this does not end. Once you learn DevSecOps, you have committed yourself into a lifetime subscription of continuous learning. So do not forget that, and always be ready to adapt and change. Yes, and also work very hard. And once you work very hard, you can now start working smart. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't have very many parting shots.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Kiiru, again for your time and just taking us through this from the beginning basics all the way to the practical session. We truly appreciate. I think it goes without saying that there's a lot of information, a lot of new things, and I like the fact that we tried to implement most of what we were talking about and also got a feel of like the tools and methodology you're using. So thank you so much for that, Kiiru. Just an advice for people on the call. Kiiru has also done, I think, threat modeling talk for us, and also, what is it called? Key Vault and secret keeping. So if you can check the YouTube channel, you'll get those videos that I feel really complement this, as well as the video he was talking about by Joylene on DevSecOps. She did that a couple of years back for Cybershuja, and that will also complement this. So, like we always advise, take time to listen in to the recording after it comes out. It's on YouTube. The page is Cybershuja. Take time to go through it, take time to internalize, and also just get a grip of what works for you. Security is a very wide field, and the point of this program is to help you get a feel of what professionals are doing and what is relevant in the field now. So, thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and see you next Thursday for another session. Bye.